Joe Klatt, Fox Sports lead college football analyst. And this Saturday he's in Ann Arbor for Indiana at Michigan. And next weekend he's on the call for Michigan at Ohio State, noon Eastern.
What's up,
on
guys?
Fox. Look at you.
How you doing?
Look at you. Look at you.
How you guys doing out here on the West Coast? Early wake-ups, warm weather? What do you think?
All good.
I can't believe you've gone soft, though.
Oh, like Charmin, man. I am soft as it can be. Oh, there's no doubt.
Where did you grow up?
Right outside of Denver, right between Boulder and Denver in a town called Arvada, Colorado.
And then you go to CU.
Yes, I played a couple of years of minor league baseball. Then I go back to CU. Cold weather never bothered me, right? I mean, that's where I grew up. I played in it, and now I moved out here, and I've been in the LA area for about 5.5 years, and I am soft.
What happened?
I'm telling you, man, your blood thins out.
Okay,
last weekend, so I go. We did Ohio State, Michigan State last week. So I'm at Michigan State, and I always go down on the field just because you can get some great info right before the game. Everybody's guards down, so you can finally get the injury info that you really need right before the game. You know this. You've been on fields and everything. And I go down there, and I'm like, I can't stay down here any longer. I haven't seen Mark D'Antonio or Urban Meyer, but like I can't do it anymore. I've got to get back up to the booth. And Jenny Taft, our sideline reporter, who does a marvelous job. She's from Minnesota. She looks at me, shakes her head, and was like, "You are really soft." And that's when I knew it's official, right? Like I'm super soft.
You've gone Hollywood.
I know. At least I've got good hair.
You're probably vegan. You probably
no. I haven't done that. I have not done that. No, I can't do that.
All right.
Gus tried to do that last year. Am I outing him? That's all right. Gus tried to go vegan
Gus
for a
Johnson?
while. Yeah. And so quick story real quick. We were at Texas Tech doing a game, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. And Gus was trying to be vegan and you know, I mean, it was going okay. There was some cheese on some dishes. And so we let it go as a crew. We're like, are you going to tell him? We're like, no, don't tell him. And finally, they brought some Qdoba up for us at halftime. And he had ordered the tofu burrito. But I look at the burritos and I'm like, every one of these is a chicken burrito. And so he takes a big bite into it. And then he kind of looks at me. He's like, oh, man, 10 days vegan. And I was like,
9 days.
9 days now. Go back to one.
I brought this stat up to the Danettes. The least amount of time spent trailing this season. So Alabama has trailed for 1 minute and 10 seconds. Do you know who's second on the list? The least amount of time trailing this season.
I would guess either Washington State or Clemson.
Clemson is fourth. Notre Dame is second.
Notre Dame. Wow.
Utah State is third.
How about the Aggies of Utah State? By the way, Matt Wells is going to get a big job. He's their head coach. He's done a marvelous job. So watch out for that. If you're a team that's going through a coaching transition, I think a name that you're going to be surprised to be in the mix is Matt Wells, the Utah State head coach.
Biggest opening that you think we'll have next the offseason?
I love him to death, but I do think USC is going to come open. I like Clay Helton a lot, but I think USC is going to go through a change.
I don't think it will.
It's something
it's
about...
too expensive.
It is
expensive. You don't
expensive.
have a president.
Yeah.
You got drama that's off the football field there. You got
really
other
outside
things to
of
worry
the
about.
department.
Yes, you got other things to worry about.
Exactly. And the budget will be an issue with that. And listen, I hope Clay can stick around. I think he's a really good football coach that maybe didn't do his best job hiring a staff in this first iteration as a permanent head coach. And I think if he can fix that, in particular from a recruiting perspective, that he can work. He's a really good football man, and he was the adult in the room that they needed at the time in which he was hired. But boy, that was 15-14 at home to Cal. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, you can't. And I'm going to go to the UCLA game.
That'll be a good one.
No, it won't.
UCLA's better. I'm telling you, Chip's going to work out at UCLA.
They had to get better.
Right.
But do you think that this happened with Chip Kelly, that he was this great innovator, and then everybody took what he invented, and so now there's no novelty to Chip Kelly anymore?
There is no novelty. You're exactly right, especially at the college level. And in fact, you can make the argument that he is actually going in a little different direction than a lot of the college offenses have gone, because he's incorporating some of and a lot of what he did in the National Football League. But what happened at UCLA this year was that Chip ran into a culture that he wanted to change 180 degrees. And now, granted, a lot of that is him, and that's his MO, and that's what he did in Philadelphia, which is what rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But he had to run off about 17 guys that would have been on the two deep this year. I'm not talking about graduation. I'm talking about two deep players for this year. So they were so thin that you could see why they would struggle early in the year. But I think moving forward, they're going to be, at least in the next 2 and 3 years, they're going to be the best team in that South Division very quickly.
Is Jeff Brom going to stay at Purdue, or would he go to Louisville?
What
would you take?
I would not go to Louisville over Purdue. I mean, look what he's been able to achieve at Purdue. I hate to say it this way, wait for a real blue blood job. Louisville is not a blue blood job right now. Look at the drama that they're in off the field. Their largest donors getting pulled off the state. I don't want to get involved in that mess at Louisville if I'm Jeff Brom. Brom's the type of guy that I think in this class of head coaching changes will be the top 2 or 3 candidate at almost any school that changes over. So I would wait. I would wait to see what the Cowboys do. I would wait to see if they went after Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, because Jeff Brom is a guy that I think could get a blue blood job and not just. I know he's from Louisville, but I think there are better jobs out there for Jeff Brom.
If you're Lincoln Riley, let's say the Cowboys comes open.
Yeah.
Cleveland's going to be open.
Yeah.
And you could stay at Oklahoma.
Listen, I'm a college guy. I would stay at Oklahoma. Here's my argument, is that the NFL doesn't pay any better than what colleges are paying. I mean, Lincoln Riley's making $4.75 million right now. That's going to ratchet up over the course of his current contract. You can make an argument that if he finds his way into the playoff, he's going to sign a deal that's going to rival Jimbo Fisher's at Texas A&M and get an extension along those lines at OU. He's in complete control of that program and that conference right now. And I think he could stay there for 10 or 15 years.
Well, plus you get control, and every one of these guys is a control freak.
That's right.
You go to the NFL, you're not going to be in control in Dallas.
No, especially in Dallas. Now, I think Denver might go after Lincoln if Denver comes open. Something about where they're at with their quarterback and with the way that Elway has made some decisions over the last few years, I could see them targeting Lincoln Riley and going after a young quarterback in the draft and trying to mirror what the Rams have done over the last few years with Sean McVay and Jared Goff. But if I was Lincoln Riley, I would stay. You can be at OU with full control for 10 or 15 years. Dan, that's, with these numbers, that's $75 million. I mean, that's a tough deal.
Is Urban Meyer coaching Ohio State in 2 years?
2 years, gosh, I would flip a coin on that. Next year, I would say very good chance that he's at Ohio State. I don't think that he's going to allow this to be his last ride. I think he's got too much pride. He's accomplished too much in the college game and really at Ohio State for this to be his last ride. I think he'll absolutely be back next year. But then what happens after that, I'm not sure. That's when I would flip a coin.
I had an NFL scout who said, and he's starting the process of looking at these players, and he said he saw more players on Ohio State try to protect themselves for the draft than any other team this year. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, you got guys who are junior eligible, and it said this isn't just Bosa. But Bosa did do that, but he thinks there's other players on this Ohio State team who are playing sort of to protect themselves. Yeah. They know they have to play this season to get to the NFL.
It's interesting that I've talked with a couple of scouts, and they've brought that up, and candidly, I don't see it. And the reason is I don't think they're as talented as they've been over the last couple of years. Yeah. I don't think there's as many guys for Ohio State that are locks for the NFL like we've seen over the last few years. Did you know in the last 3 years, just off their defense alone, they've had 15 top 4-round picks? That's an insane number. It's astonishing. Only Alabama is churning out players like that. LSU, maybe Clemson as well. But this iteration, they're young on defense. Their offensive line is not very good. I don't see a real pro prospect up front, maybe outside of their size. I think Dwayne Haskins needs another year, so I don't think he should come out as a quarterback. And I don't think that the quarterbacks wide receivers are protecting themselves. So I actually think Ohio State this year is probably the weakest they've been in quite some time when it comes to pure prospects for this year's NFL draft.
And you got Michigan coming to town. Ooh. And we keep talking about Michigan being back. You're not back if you're Michigan until you beat Ohio State.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So this doesn't matter. Like Jim Harbaugh, this is the year you have to beat Ohio State.
Well, and this is what he was brought back for. Right? I mean, He wanted to be. Michigan wanted to be back in the conversation at the top end of college football. Yes, that's absolutely certain. And they weren't that for, what was it, the 7 years between Lloyd Carr and Jim Harbaugh. But that's all well and good. You got to beat Ohio State. You know, you ask Mac Brown and Bob Stoops about their tenure at Texas and Oklahoma. What would they say? Yeah, it's great to win the conference. You got to beat that team. And so in this season, with a team that's going to be favored on the road, he's got to win this game. Yeah. I mean, next week is going to be massive. Gus and I and Jenny will be there, and I can't think of a more important game that Jim Harbaugh has coached since the Super Bowl.
Is Alabama bad for college football?
I don't think that they are. I get this question a lot. Dan, maybe I'm a front runner. I actually think sports in general are better with dynasties. Those leagues are better with dynasties. I thought that the NBA of the 80s was fantastic because of Magic and Bird. I thought that the NBA under Jordan was phenomenal because of Michael Jordan winning 6 titles in 8 years.
But Alabama's not entertaining. You're talking about guys who are entertaining.
I mean, is New England entertaining?
I think there's a fascination there. You're watching the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, they're not as predictable.
I can see that.
Like Alabama is predictable.
They're predictably consistent. They've been ranked at some point number 1 in the AP poll in every year for the last 9 years. That's a record. Did you know that since 2009, Alabama has spent more time at the number 1 spot in the AP poll than all of college football? They are right now the Tiger versus the field of 2000.
Yeah, but Tiger was entertaining.
But golf was fantastic in 2000.
I know, but Alabama's not entertaining.
Oh man,
it's not must-see TV. I mean, I love Tua.
Thought.
I think Tua is
they're more entertaining this year
because of him.
Yeah,
but you're just not. There's no tune-in factor there. When I watched Oklahoma when they dominated, they were fun to watch.
Sure, and
when
even
Nebraska,
this year they're fun to watch.
Yes, like I'd rather watch Oklahoma than Alabama.
Sure.
There's just an entertainment.
Yeah, and
Golden State is a bully, but Golden State's entertaining.
There was a line. Rick Riley wrote an article about Tiger and Phil way back. I can't remember when it was published, but he said that basically Tiger's boring and Phil is so great because he's like watching a drunk chase a balloon next to a cliff. And I feel like that's the Oklahoma versus Alabama. Do you remember that line?
No, I don't.
That line has always stuck with me because it's just such a great
drunk
description.
Chasing a balloon by a cliff.
Near a cliff. That's OU, right? They're the drunk chasing a balloon near a cliff because it's like their defense might give up 60. So it's like, what are they going to do? And Bama is the consistent savior par. But I love watching that. I was a guy that when I watched baseball, I loved 2-1 versus 9-8.
Slugfest.
Yeah, so I might be the wrong guy to ask.
Yeah. It's not that I understand what you're saying about we should appreciate greatness when we see it. But I think when you look at dynasties, like there has to be an entertainment value attached to that.
Wouldn't you, I would make the
argument.
Like
the Spurs. What was our problem with the Spurs?
They were boring. They were boring. And you know, maybe the worst part about Alabama is that with all due respect to Clemson, there hasn't been the foe.
Yeah.
Right?
Like if Alabama plays Notre Dame this year.
Oh yeah, I mean they're gonna trounce.
Like they're gonna be a double-digit favorite against probably anybody, right?
They're gonna be a double-digit favorite versus everyone but Clemson, and the Clemson line will be somewhere in the 7.5 range.
Yeah. All right, final question, and it's the most important question I'm gonna ask you. I want you to be honest now.
Okay.
And don't be humble.
Oh,
Better hair. You or Kirk Herbstreit?
Oh, my hair's better than Kirk. I mean, listen.
Go get him.
I don't know. Let me go around the room here. Paulie? And look, I don't know if I've ever put you on the spot like this.
I used to work with Kirk. I don't want to.
He's fantastic, right? And he like paved the way for guys like me, by the way. I owe my entire career to a guy like Kirk, and he's phenomenal. But you can't be considered to have great hair unless it's over half an inch long.
Wow. Man, there's shots fired.
Any chance Kirk cuts it short to take it easy on the new guys?
I mean, it's good. He's a good-looking dude.
But see, he's kind of like, when Brad Pitt will ugly himself up just to like give you a chance. Like
Sure.
like he does.
That's what Kirk's doing?
So I think that Herb Street is just going.
I mean, I need that.
Like
I
Herb
need that
Street's going to go.
chance.
You know, I can't have a little bit longer here. I think it's him saying, "I'm going to be taken seriously as an analyst. I don't want to be just
right
a meat puppet here.
I can't just. Yeah, I can't be this beautiful.
Yeah.
and you take. I get it. I mean, he's
Okay.
he's a good-looking
Anybody
dude.
taking Herb Street over Joel Klatt's hair?
No, but I want to say that you get lost in Herb Street's eyes, though. That you don't even get up to the hair because
like
it's
you're
so blue. It's
Blue
hold
on
up,
blue.
though.
And look
Man.
who's
Look
wearing
who's going blue on blue.
Whoa.
Hello.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a shot.
Stepping on toes here.
No. I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing. Oh, blue shirt. That's another Herb Street. That's a trick there.
Listen,
You go blue.
Jordan LeBron.
Yeah. And then
Listen.
you pick up the blue.
Very
what would Nick
competitive
Saban
industry.
say? Play to your strengths.
Okay. All right. That's it.
Think about it though. Think about the half-inch prerequisite, right? I mean, just to be considered, you got great hair. Like he can be beautiful, but just if you're just talking about the hair, like I mean, the half-inch, you got to be over a half-inch.
If
right?
Herb Street's watching right now.
Herbie, what's up, man?
That's, okay. No, I think something's up.
Yeah, that quote reads a lot different
Yeah,
than it was
it
said.
does.
Oh, the quote. I'm sure it does.
If
I'm
Herbie
sure it
lets his
does.
hair grow out,
then it's over for
yeah,
me.
ball game.
Yeah, it's
like
such
that's
a
the
ball
one
game.
trait you're better at than Herbie, right? Who's a better quarterback?
I mean,
You?
I'll just go to the numbers. Let's just default to the numbers.
Okay. But you played at Colorado. He played at Ohio State.
What are you trying to say? We have a national championship.
Yeah, like 1990.
Yeah, it was a great year.
Ohio State's won since then.
That's true. That's true. Here's why I will forever be indebted to Kirk Herbstreit, because he made it okay in the college level to be a lead analyst without being a Heisman Trophy winner. You know, so because of that, I'll forever be indebted. But I threw for a lot more yards.
You got Klatt's numbers there?
Yeah, 46 touchdowns in 4 years for Joel Klatt and 7,700 yards at Colorado.
All right, that's not bad.
Thanks, Dan.
No, I mean it's
I mean, it's not great. It was a different era. You know, I'd love to play for Lincoln Riley now. If I could play for Lincoln Riley, I would be like the best backup. Because I wouldn't actually play for.
Do you got Herb Street's numbers at Ohio State?
I don't want to besmirch a legend, Dan. It's like 5 touchdown passes in his career at Ohio State. Kirk Herbstreit.
He was a better runner, though. I think.
I'm just going to default to the numbers. I'm sure he was.
All right.
Listen, he's a handsome guy. I mean, can you just give me the hair and the numbers, right?
I'll give you that.
Nice.
Joel Klatt, he will be in Ann Arbor. It's Indiana at Michigan, and then he'll be in Columbus the following week with Michigan at Ohio State.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go.
Come on up.
Well, I don't want to do that.
What? Come on.
Well, maybe I'll do a drive-by.
It's going to be cold.
And
Bundle up.
Oh, I'm from Ohio.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.